Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back inside the video podcast room of the State Champs Sports Network studios on the campus of Lawrence Technological University in Southfield, Michigan. My name is Lorne Plant, and it's a high school football regional championship weekend. Michigan Extra Point Live is back once again, and we have a full house tonight. In fact, Scott Burnstei will be joining us here momentarily. So we've got Scott, we've got Matt, we've got Jenna in the room tonight, and we have a lot to get to. But before we do anything, we know what you guys want, and that are the scores. So this is such a pivotal weekend, and obviously everybody is, you can check scores and find scores, and we've got them. So Jenna is locked and loaded. She is going to read all of them, and then the guys are going to talk about the games that they attended tonight. Scott and I were at the same one, and we'll react to everything that took place on the gridiron. So this show is live on the State Champs Michigan Facebook page, State Champs TV YouTube page, and on Twitter at State Champsnet is the handle. So let us now get into the score. So Jenna.
All right, well, happy to start off with this one. Hometown baby, Brighton for Division I beat Hudsonville 35-20. Up next was Davison. They beat Utica Eisenhower 35-7. And then Sterling Heights Stevenson topped Detroit Cass Tech 9-7. Moving on to Division II, Muskegon Mona Shores took on Portage Northern, and they beat them 28-23. Walled Lake Western won against Livonia Churchill 21-14. Detroit U of D Jesuit, lost against Detroit Martin Luther King. They won 49-21. And then Port Huron lost to Birmingham Seaholm 44-28. Going on to Division III, Chelsea won 28-27 against Allen Park on a missed extra point. And then for Division IV, Hudsonville Unity Christian beat Pawpaw 38-17, and then Flint Powers Catholic won against Pontiac Notre Dame Prep 12-9. And then going on to Division V, Kalamazoo Hackett.
Just a little musical background there. It's good. It's good. I like it.
Kalamazoo Hackett Catholic Prep. They lost to Lansing Catholic 40-13, and then Dearborn Heights Robichaud. Yeah. Okay. Awesome. Lost against Detroit Denby 40-18. Going on to Division VI, Onstead beat Hillsdale 12-0, and this was Hillsdale's first loss. And now going to Division VII, Pewamo Westphalia beat New Lathrop. This is New Lathrop's first loss, 36-35. And then Schoolcraft lost to Jackson Lumen Christi, 35-30. Going on to Division VIII, Reading beat Adrian Lenawee Christian, 26-21. And then finally, 8-player Division II, Pickford beat Hillman 42-8.
Okay, so those are your Friday night scores. We're going to talk about a preview for Saturday later in the program, but let's react to some of what took place tonight. And where were you at tonight, Mr. Mowery?
I was at Flint Powers Notre Dame Prep. And it was not
a barn burner there, 12-9. It was
not a barn burner. Yeah, it was 12-9. And you kind of knew that with the weather the way it was, and Notre Dame Prep kind of wanting to sling the ball around and play up tempo, that the weather might be a factor, and it really was. I mean, it ended up being 2 rushing touchdowns by Powers that put it away. They ended up Luke Philpott, the quarterback for Flint Powers, got hurt in the first half. Looked like it was a pretty severe ankle twist. We weren't sure if he was going to come back. 2 plays after he leaves the game, though, his backup throws a pump and go for 31 yards down to the 1-yard line to set them up. And it really, up until that point, had been kind of a game of field position. That really flipped the field, and Powers punches it in there. Philpotts does everything for Powers, though. So when he was out, obviously one of the things that he does is he punts. Notre Dame Prep, which got inside the 10, had goal to go twice and failed to score. The second time, they kind of pinned Powers back and forced them to punt from their own end zone, and you've got a backup punter trying to handle the punt snap, and he bobbled it a little bit and managed to get on it and only cost them a safety. But still, that was one of those points where you noticed how much they missed Philpotts, but he was able to come in a little bit in the second half and kind of run for some tough yardage. He had that ankle taped up pretty pretty tight, and it probably helped a little bit how cold it was, because he'll probably feel it quite a bit more in the morning. But it ended up Notre Dame Prep finally got the ball back with 8.8 seconds left, and they were able to do the throw it back and forth and pass it around a little bit trademark thing, and they didn't get very far, and so Powers was able to close it out, but it was not an offensive game by any stretch of the imagination.
Yeah, and in carryover from last night's NFL game, you also had a scrum at the end?
A little bit of a scrum at the end. It was one of those where Powers was trying to run off as much time as they could, and Philpott's kind of hesitated on one of the kneel downs and got hit pretty hard, and so as a result, his teammates were not real happy about that. And the only thing you didn't want to see at that point is you didn't want to see anybody get ejected and not be able to play next week in the semifinals. As far as I know, there were no ejections, and so I mean, it wasn't the greatest look for either squad, but like I said, the worst case scenario would have been somebody, in a moment of protecting their teammate, get suspended for the next game, which you would hate to see. But so it was eerie that it looked almost identical to that same kind of situation where teammate coming to someone else's a teammate's aid, and things get a little out of hand. But cooler heads prevailed pretty quickly.
Okay, well, that was Scott Burnstei, who just kind of clumsily made his way into the room and then left again. I'm sure he's got a call. Well, here he comes back into the room. I'm sure the Oakland press is talking to him as he came in. His shirt was kind of half up, like he was a football player or something, showing off his abs or something. I don't know, but he's good Lord.
Wow, sorry.
Jeez. So,
yeah,
exactly.
I was locked out. I was like banging on the door for 10 minutes.
Oh, were you?
Okay. Started without me, and I was.
Oh yeah. That's all right. Anyway, you're back, and we're just about to talk to about the game that we were at. So the
I can't hear my microphone though.
You can't.
I can't hear anything.
Oh, you can't hear anything? Okay, so you got to make sure you turn his headphones on. Yep. Okay. Can you hear anything now? You can't? Okay. All right. Well, you keep working on that. Kia tie us on the wheels of steel, and she's going to try to do that until you can't hear us. But you can hear me right next to you, so that's the important thing. We can hear you on the mic. That's also good. The game we were at. So, obviously, freezing temperatures out there. You were comfortable in the press box. I was down on the field shooting the game. Freezing might took us. But I can tell you that for the most part, especially if you look at kind of overall in the game, it was a pretty good defensive kind of matchup for the most part. Certainly, Trainer did what he needed to do. A couple nice.
He was rather pedestrian though today. He was. I think he was 16 of 22 for 225 yards, 3 touchdowns. I mean, that's a really good game for any normal high school quarterback.
Correct.
But for a guy that's, I think he's over 3,000 yards, over 30 touchdowns. He routinely puts out 300, 400-yard games. So when you see him only throw for 225, you're like, but the defense really came up huge, especially on the last set of downs in the game. Churchill had stormed back. It was 21-7. They made it 21-14. Brendan Lowry was just a real playmaker for Churchill. Quarterback Gavin Brooks was finding Lowry early and often. Lowry had the touchdown to make it 14-7 and then to make it 21-14 on a reverse. And with about 2 minutes to go, Churchill got the ball on a onside kick that they recovered.
Good Lord.
And had the ball set up at midfield with 2 minutes left, half a field in front of them. All they needed to do was,
wow. Whoa. There's his headphones.
You good? Can you turn it down a little bit now?
Oh, yeah. You got him cranked there.
Are
you good now?
Yeah, I'm good
All
now.
right.
So,
technical difficulties, ladies and gentlemen. We work it out. It's a live show.
So Churchill got the ball midfield, had to score a touchdown to tie, and the defensive line for Western went into lockdown mode from the first
couple of sacks.
First down, Justin Collier, their beefy run stuffer, broke into the pocket and one-handed Gavin Brooks and manhandled him into the turf.
Yeah, he did.
And really set the tone for the next 3 downs. And then on 4th down, his running mate there on the defensive line, Bryce Mosley, who's another big boy that is a typhoon of terror in the trenches, along with along with Collier,
titles.
and he tracked down Brooks, who busted out of the pocket on fourth down, was looking for a little breathing room, and Mosley said, "No, we're ending the game right now." He sacked him. That was it. Western went on to win the game, but it was nice to see a team that's known for their offense and for having such an explosive offense. The defense really answered the bell in the final minute or two of that game.
For Churchill, I want to give them credit. This is a team that lost, I think, in triple overtime to Franklin.
They were one. They were
1-4. Right, and had to win the rest of their games to get into the playoffs at 5-4. Had not lost since September 27th, and Western hasn't lost since a 3-point loss to Orchard Lake on the 20th of September.
And Traynor didn't play in the second half of that game.
Right, I
was the only person in my rankings the whole year that was. After that game, at least, I was still ranking Western above Orchard Lake St. Mary's because I think it was a 48-45 game, and the whole second half they played with their backup quarterback Johnny Abley.
Yeah.
But my point is they could easily be 12-0 right now.
No, yeah, for sure. And Churchill almost got really robbed because before that fourth down touchdown on the reverse, they had thrown a pass to the back of the end zone that was clearly in, and they said he was out. And I'm like, wow, if that's the way the game ends, that's going to be rough. But they were able to get it in, so they came back. It was funny too because we had 2 touchdowns that were basically up for grabs. Mm-hmm. On the one side, you had Churchill scoring, and it looked like both guys had caught a defender.
And Yassine on the other side.
Yassine and then Yassine's touchdown on the other side
he was
the same thing.
He was quiet tonight too. He had the touchdown that made it 21-7, a 32-yard grab from Traynor on that kind of jump ball. But out of those 15 or 16 possessions, I think Yassine only had 2 or 3 catches.
Right, but that's playoff football.
And Churchill came up with a great game plan.
Yeah, they did.
Western, other than that loss to Orchard Lake St. Mary's, their average margin of victory is like 25, 26 points. Churchill was there knocking on the door the whole way. One
of the nice things that and we're going to talk to Wall Lake Western head coach Alex Greeno coming up here in our next segment. But I will give credit to Churchill. I was talking with some of the coaches at halftime, and they're like, I think they start 10 sophomores on this team. So he's like, we really look at this as a building block for us, no matter what happens the rest of the way. They were down 14-0 at half.
But it was 7-0, and Western scored with about 20 seconds left to make it 14-0.
Yeah.
So Churchill, like I said, that first half, whatever they were rolling out was giving Western problems.
No question about it. Had them backed up.
Traynor only had 2 completions for the first 12 minutes or like 14 minutes of the game.
Yeah, and at the end of the game, after they had scored, had successfully did the onside kick, which was
it's a perfect bounce.
It really was. Put them right in position. So I want to give Churchill credit for getting as far as they did. For Walled Lake Western, now they're going to take on Muskegon Mona Shores.
They were picked 4th in their league.
Yeah,
I mean, I get it.
But you got to look at the teams that were ahead of
I know Lakeland, South Lyon, and Walled Lake Northern.
Oh no, I thought you meant Franklin or Churchill.
No, I'm saying Walled Lake Western is a team that has a very good chance at least getting to Ford Field, if not winning a state championship, and they were not thought of very highly by their own league. Can I mention one quick interesting aside from that game? So Gavin Brooks, the quarterback for Livonia Churchill, his dad. I believe it's Mike Brooks or John Brooks. I apologize, Mr. Brooks. But he is a junior high school teacher in Walled Lake. So a lot of those football players that were coming after Gavin Brooks and planting them into the ground had come up, being taught by his dad.
That is good. That's always a cool story. All right. Before we get into what we else have tonight, let's quickly get some more reaction to some of the games that took place tonight. And there's a couple really that I want to touch on really quick. And the first one is Sterling Heights Stevenson.
Wow,
9-7 winners over Cass Tech. Cass had been just filling the scoreboard with points over the last few weeks. Huh?
Didn't expect that score.
No, I did not at all. I didn't expect Sterling Heights Stevenson I really expected to lose by 2 scores. But I've got to give this team a lot of credit. What they've done, again, had to beat Warren Mott in the last game of the regular season with a field goal in the last minute to get into the playoffs. Then they play Mott again, which is always a tough thing to do, and they beat them convincingly in this case. Then they go and beat Macomb, Dakota, who just beat Chippewa Valley, the defending state champ, and they did that in convincing fashion. And here, find a way in the regionals. Granted, it was at home, which helps, to beat Cass Tech, a very talented Cass Tech team who had been rolling. 9-7.
Well, and I think that Cass Tech team, and when you look back at the summer and when we looked at how much talent they had, yes, they graduated a ton from last year, and we knew there was going to be somewhat of a drop-off, but we knew that they were still a talented team. And so I think we had a lot of expectations for them, and then they obviously struggled for most of the season, and a lot of those expectations went away. I think they came back, though, with how much Cass had been rolling in the last 4 or 5 weeks, because I think when we sat here last week, we thought legitimately if Cass were to roll all the way to the finals, I don't think anyone would be surprised. Having said that, there was a time when no one was surprised when Stevenson was running this deep in the playoffs. This is a surprise, and all, like you said, all kudos to them. No one expected this from them. You know, they play in a very, very tough league, but I don't know that they were considered one of the contenders in that league this year. And they're the last man standing, I believe.
Yeah. Well, since we have him on the line, we should just go ahead and bring Coach Alex Greeno on the line right now, bring him up on the show here on Michigan Extra Point. Walled Lake Western 21-14 winners over Churchill tonight. Coach, how you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Okay, I know you're doing well. Now, I want to say this right off the bat. And I'm going to put the whole thing on social media because it's pretty amazing. Coach, I love a good pregame speech, but I will tell you, the one that you delivered tonight not only resonated with the players, it resonated with me, man. I wanted to put the pads on and jump out there. It was a great – I mean, it was a great speech. Obviously, it was very heartfelt. But, you know, when you get a chance to, you know, find yourself now you're in your second season with the Warriors and you're in a position you were tonight, you know, I could really tell that, you talked about all the work that you'd done to get there, and it really seemed like you've got a pretty special group.
Yeah, it's easy when you don't have to make things up, right? And all we did was talked about what that group had done.
Yeah.
When I got the job last year, we had incredible talent, but they didn't have a head coach for many months. I think it was something from January, and I didn't get the job till June 20th. Right. I remember that. It was the day after my son's birthday. And I met the guys at a 7-on-7 against Farmington Hills Harrison. So it was kind of just jump in and run with it and do the best we could. But, those kids that stuck it out last year, we made an impact, not as big an impact as I would have liked given more time. But, we lost Sam Johnson and Spencer and multiple D1 athletes. And our kids felt a little disrespected going into this year and felt kind of written off. And, it comes down to a great group of people. The accountability, we held people to a little higher standard, and the ones that weren't going to buy in kind of weeded themselves out, and the kids that are left over, like I said before the game, are there for a reason.
Yeah.
They're there for a reason, and we just needed to do what we've been doing all year, and that's try to be the best version of us we can be, and continue to improve day in and day out. And I tell you what, when you got good kids, smart kids, I think I nominated something like 9-10 academic all-state kids this year. Makes it a heck of a lot easier. We got coaches on the field on both sides of the ball. Kids that'll call you asking you questions on film, and a lot of times I got to tell them I'll get back to you. I don't know yet. I don't know what the game plan is yet. We're still breaking down film, but they ask questions. We come out with scouting reports and breakdowns and all that data, and they eat it up. And it makes coaching a lot easier, and it's been a very enjoyable year with those guys.
Coach, this is Scott Burnstei. We were just face to face about a half hour ago.
I know.
And again, just a great job with this group. But it seems to me that, Walled Lake Western, or at least over the last decade or decade plus, you always had the athletes, you've had the Division I recruits and everything. But for this team and the success that it's having, yes, again, you have some blue chippers on your squad, but you're spreading the ball around so much. There's so much balance. Kids that probably won't play college football are scoring touchdowns, are contributing on both sides of the ball. It seems like there's no egos. People aren't worried about recruiting star status or what visits they're taking that weekend. Everyone just seems so dialed in. What's been that? What's the X factor here? Why is everything clicking? You guys have been kind of in cruise control mode since that Orchard Lake St. Mary's game, and even kind of before that.
Yeah, like I said, one, it comes down to our kids like each other, and from Abdur and CJ on down, they all respect each other. And when CJ and Abdur saw the work the kids were putting in, everybody bought in. We started with a big we, little me idea. We had printed T-shirts right away to start the off season last year. We did some morning, just straight speed and agility, conditioning type things to kind of get them out of their comfort zone. And the more you make them uncomfortable as a group, the more they grow together. And then we later in the summer had these Marines come out. It's called the Crucible program. And for 3 days, our kids got their butt kicked for many hours in a row. And it's kind of like, let coach be the bad guy. And in that distaste for me at the moment, they came closer together. You know what I mean? And with it, like I said, they took it for personal that they were counted out, especially after that preseason meeting. We got picked 4th in the conference, 2nd in the city. Our kids were pretty disgusted by that, and it got awfully easy to motivate them after that. I think we've been good on both sides of the ball. I think our defense still doesn't get the respect they deserve, but it's the kids. I think we have a great coaching staff. We brought in Justin Ziak, Darian Harris, the ex-Spartan and Cincinnati Bengal to help. And we mixed those with the guys that had been there. I didn't try to make a ton of changes when I came in. I wanted the kids to still feel comfortable and confident, and they've bought into the coaching, and they bought into each other. I mean, it's a good group of kids that believe in what we do. They trust us. We trust them, and it's been a lot of fun for them.
We're talking with Wale Western head coach Alex Greeno. Alex, how about tonight's game? Because Livonia Church, we were talking before we brought you on, they had a good game plan on how to defend you guys, and you're still able to, kind of take that gut check, find a way to win. Talk about tonight's matchup and, what your take was on it.
Well, I'm one of the few maybe that am happy the strength of schedule thing starting next year, because these teams like Churchill and a couple other these teams that got in with 3 or 4 losses. I mean, they played Belleville, Fortune, Franklin, and I think Brighton.
Right. Yeah.
Those are all great teams.
Yes.
So we knew they were battle tested. We knew they were going to be very good. They were tough. They weren't going to be intimidated at all. Their defensive game plan, I thought, was phenomenal. They did a lot of disguises and fake blitzing and rolling coverages and things that gave us some problems at points. But Zach didn't have the game he would usually have, but I tell you what, he made some great plays in clutch situations and was able to recognize what was going on, stood tall in some pressure situations with blitzers or edge rushers coming at him, took some shots and threw some great touchdown passes for us.
Oh, that second touchdown, that could not have been any prettier. I mean, it was indefensible.
Well, and the third touchdown, he had to stand in the pocket and take a punishing when he left that ball up and Yassine grabbed it. But I mean, he had to stay in there an extra second to get that ball out where he needed it to be for that to be a touchdown.
Yep, and I think we just missed Abdur on the first play of the game. Would have put us in the 5. It almost came out of his hands.
Yep.
Just missed him in the end zone again later. Mm-hmm. But like you were talking about the kids that nobody knows about, Sam Ahern's a 6'5" athlete that starts on both sides of the ball, plays every down, has some 6 interceptions and 11 touchdowns for us. I don't think anybody ever heard of him. Yeah, Cam Kanai, another kid. Especially when Justin Gabriel went down earlier in the year, who was one of our better players, Cam Kanai stepped up, and he's that slot, kind of our Julian Edelman, so to speak, where he's just going to get open. He's going to be old reliable. You throw him the ball, he's going to catch it.
That's the second touchdown that Lorne's referencing.
Exactly.
Just put it right over his shoulder.
Catch.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Right. So, we got kids that are Brandon Camfield, our senior linebacker captain, broke the school tackle record this year. I don't know if anybody ever heard of him before this season started. We got several kids that stepped up and.
What about that sack tonight to open that final set of downs? Collier one-handed Brooks. I mean, literally with one hand took him to the ground.
Right. Collier's he's a man-child, I think is the best way to describe him.
Yeah.
There's a few of him throughout the state, but I tell you what, I'm very fortunate to have the kids we have, and I'm super grateful that they came together and bought into what we were selling, and they play hard for each other, and that was kind of my message before the game. Hey, there's a lot of kids that aren't with us anymore for whatever reason. Every decision you guys have made up to this point put you right here and give you this opportunity to play at home for a trip to the semifinals. And they answered the bell, especially when Churchill got their momentum going. We knew they loved posts and deep passes, and Brooks could make things happen. And they scored that deep touchdown. That was a quick strike, and then they get the onside kick. It takes a good team to kind of saddle up and make a stop there. And,
that's right.
One of our playmakers, Collier on the D-line, made a play when we needed it and put them in a long second and third and long situations. That's definitely more easy to defend than, second and medium, third and medium.
No doubt about it, Coach. We're going to let you go. I want one last question. So Muskegon Mona Shores is next. What do you know about them?
I know they're tough. I know they got a great quarterback. They're an option football team. I remember when I was first starting coaching, I was going to clinics and listening to their head coach speak at some of these clinics. Yeah. So, I got a great respect for them. Obviously, they have a great tradition. They were at the state championship game last year. But, we're going to do what we've done all year. We don't really care who we're playing or how good or bad they're supposed to be. We're going to try to get better every day this week and be the best version we can be coming into Saturday.
Beautiful. Coach, thank you very much. Congratulations. Of course, good luck next week, and good luck with your practice this week as well.
Thank you very much.
Great job,
see
AG. It's always difficult being the guy right after the guy, and he's done such a great job of embracing that and building off of that tradition that Coach Z and before him Coach Apap had built at Western.
Well, especially because those expectations that where those comparisons are the strongest are the first year.
Yeah.
And as he said, he got that job so late.
And there were some growing pains with that team.
And last year was probably not as smooth a transition as he would have liked. And you can see now that system is in place, and it's his program, not
hitting on all cylinders.
He's not just the caretaker anymore. Yeah.
All right, so very quickly, we're going to take our first time out in just a bit. I want to let you know, coming up, we're going to talk about Saturday's regional championships tomorrow. So we're going to talk a little bit about what we think about that. We are also going to talk storylines, which in this case is who's remaining in the Anvil and Mr. Football races. We'll have our comments of the week, and we'll look ahead to next week's semifinal matchups. We know a few of them, so we'll talk about that then. And so that's what we got going on now. I do want to make sure that we thank our sponsors, because without it, we would not be doing a show. So first off, Lawrence Technological University. You can recruit yourself for one of 24 sports offered here at LTU. Go to LTUathletics.com. Blue Devils play their final football game of the season tomorrow at Taylor University in Indiana. Hungry Howie's is also a proud partner of State Champs. Famous for flavor. Go get a pie tonight, just like we will, I hope, at the end of the show. The Michigan High School Athletic Association. We have a banner link at statechampsnetwork.com that will take you directly to the MHSAA score page. As a subscriber to MHSAA.tv, you can check out so many streaming live playoff football games, so make sure you go and do that. Also, applications are being accepted now for the DAC Male and Female Athlete of the Year Awards. So the requirements are quickly that you're a first-team All-Stater or projected to be one this school year in a future sport, at least a 3.0 GPA, and you demonstrate some school leadership or have done some volunteerism. So go to dacathleteoftheyear.com. Last year's winners were Rakia Jackson and Kendall Taylor from Madisonite Bishop Foley. Rakia Jackson now at... Where is she? Mississippi State, that's right. In fact, I saw some pictures. She had taken her pictures for...
Her teammate, Gabby Elliott, just signed with Clemson. That's quite a program we got over there at Eastern Market Prep.
No doubt about it. Kendall Taylor at the Naval Academy, so very impressive. All right, the recruit report is next, but first, this week's Be the Referee.
Welcome to Be the Referee with veteran MHSAA official Sam Davis.
Safety in football continues to be a hot topic. We have previously talked here about rules that improve player safety. Today we're going to focus on the adults, specifically coaches and officials that work at the sideline area just in front of the team box. The rule requires that from the time just before the snap until the end of play, all coaches and team personnel must be completely out of the 6-foot safety zone located in front of the team box at each sideline. This then gives the official plenty of room to work unimpeded in either direction. Now, as soon as the play ends, coaches can move into the area to instruct their players or to send in the next play and then move back prior to the next snap.
Thanks, Sam. You can be a referee. Go online now to MHSAA.com to register. Be the Referee is a production of the MHSAA Network.
I admit it. I love working with money, negotiating, and making big decisions. That's why I'm majoring in finance and economics at Lorne Tech. What's truly amazing about the education here is the small class sizes that give me easy access to my professors who truly care about my future. They even helped me get a great internship. And I was able to fulfill my lifelong dream of playing college golf. Lorne Tech, where Blue Devils dare.
You do know you want a contest to spend the whole day with me, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you just want to sit here and eat this delicious pizza?
We could do other things.
That was the best day ever! Treat yourself to the world's first stuffed flavored crust pizza. And now for just $6.99, try our new stuffed Howie bread filled with fresh mozzarella and cheddar cheese.
Hungry?
Howie's!
This is Alan True from 24/7 Sports with this week's State Champs Recruit Report brought to you by My Student Aid. Walled Lake Western senior Abdur Rahman Yassin is having an outstanding season and a big reason why his team is making another deep playoff run. Yassin has been committed to Northwestern since the summer, but that didn't stop Michigan State from recently coming in and offering him a scholarship. The Spartans had him in camp going into his junior season, but picked up the offer after wide receivers coach Don Treadwell came to a recent Western practice. Yassin remains committed to Northwestern and just visited them again. Says he'll sort through recruiting a little bit more after his season is finished. One of the fastest seniors on the west side of the state has made his college decision as Forest Hills Eastern's Luke Brenner has committed to the University of Dayton. Brenner is a 5'10", 160-pound wide receiver and cornerback who had outstanding results on the track last spring, including finishing top in the state in the 200-meter dash. Brenner is the first player from the state of Michigan to commit to the Flyers in this class. For this week's State Champs Recruit Report, I'm Alan True.
The Recruit Report is brought to you by My Student Aid, Michigan's go-to resource for student financial aid. Go to michigan.gov/MIStudentAid for more information. Hey guys, welcome back to Michigan Extra Point Live. So we appreciate Walled Lake Western coach Alex Greeno for joining us this evening. I'm here with Matt Mowery, Scott Burnstei, and Genna Skalski, and we're talking about tonight's regional championship games here on Extra Point. And real quickly, before we have Genna read all the Saturday matchups and we talk about what we think about those games, you want to mention a little bit about Seaholm.
Yeah, I mean, the two big sleepers right now that are left going into the Final Four, at least as of Friday, are Sterling Heights Stevenson and Birmingham Seaholm. At least Stevenson has a blue chipper on their team. I mean, a guy that's going to Michigan.
Right, an Anvil Award. Yep.
Yeah.
Anvil candidate.
This is just like such an amazing coaching job by Coach Jimmy DeWald these last couple years. He came to Seaholm over from previous stints at Pontiac Northern and Andover. Pontiac Northern and Andover. And he actually started really fast out of the gate with Seaholm. I think he won a couple league championships, and then they dipped for about 3-4 years. And last year he said, you know what, we're going to simplify things. We're going to take our playbook that's got 25 plays and we're going to go down to 5 plays.
Yeah.
And then last year they had a good year. They made it to they won the OA Blue title, made it to the playoffs, and then this year they are having a historic run through the playoffs for Maple football. This is only their second time in the history of the school that made it to the Final Four, and they're rolling teams with this triple option, and they only have 23 kids on the varsity roster.
Yeah, it's amazing. Yeah, that's amazing. Very impressive.
And Chaz Strecker has been the star tailback. He's over 1,500 yards. Has looked outstanding in the playoffs. Caleb Knorr is running that offense, the triple option at quarterback as a junior, looks great. And then the DeWald brothers, Jimmy DeWald's sons, are really the heart and soul of that defense. Just hats off to that group. They've just done an outstanding job, and no matter what happens going forward against King, this has been a very, very special, memorable season that they'll be talking about amongst the Seaholm football faithful for years to come.
Absolutely. They definitely will have their hands full next week, but we will see how the Maples do moving forward. Okay, Jenna, we're talking about the Saturday matchups. Why don't you just read them from Division I through 8-player Division II, and then we'll talk about a few.
All right, so for Division I, West Bloomfield will be at Belleville. Division III, East Grand Rapids will be taking on Muskegon. DeWitt is going up against Edwardsburg, and River Rouge will be at Orchard Lake St. Mary's. Division IV, Cadillac will be at Grand Rapids Catholic Central. Milan will be taking... Milan, dang it!
We're not in Italy.
Yeah, it's the whole Italian thing.
Yeah.
Milan will be at Detroit Country Day. Division V, Freeland will be going up against Kingsley, and Saginaw Swan Valley will be at Almont. Man, I got to work on that.
That's
Division VI, Maple City Glen Lake will be at Calumet.
You got it, yeah.
Okay, I'm getting nervous.
Yeah.
Sanford Meridian will be at Montague. Montrose will be taking on Monroe St. Mary Catholic Central. Going on to Division VII, Traverse City St. Francis will be at Iron Mountain. Detroit Loyola will be going up against Cass City. Going on to Division VIII, Ishpeming will be taking on Beale City. Saginaw Newville will be at Ubley. Fowler will be taking on Royal Oak Shrine Catholic. And then for the 8-player Division I, Kingston will be at Sutton's Bay. Morris will be at Colon, and then finally 8-player Division II, Climax Scots will be going up against Portland St. Patrick.
And we have to say right off the bat, obviously, the big one, the Clash of the Titans, West Bloomfield at Belleville.
I'm going to get there at like 9 o'clock.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. It's going to be, it's true. I will be there, and so will so many others.
Is this bigger than Michigan State tomorrow?
I think so.
I'll tell you one thing we know for sure. On the field tomorrow will be over 24 kids with Division I scholarships, and you can bet your bottom dollar that at least a couple of these guys will be playing in the NFL, 5 years from now.
Yeah, so what he's saying is at least 24 players between the two teams will be playing Division I college football.
Right.
That is insane.
I think there's 26 kids with Division I offers on the
with
field.
more to come, obviously, and those who are young.
And then you got the best offensive lineman maybe in the entire Midwest in the junior class in Damon Payne for Belleville. You got the best running back possibly in the whole country in junior, Donovan Edwards. You got a lot of talent.
Yeah.
For West Bloomfield.
Absolutely, and Cornell Wheeler is no joke.
I'm
at linebacker.
Makari Page is no joke.
Yes, exactly.
And we could go on for hours.
And I'm hearing that in terms of the quarterback battle, you got the notorious CDR Christian Reed for Belleville, who just all he does is win and put up ridiculous stats, despite the fact that he doesn't really look like what you would think a quarterback would look like. But who cares?
Right.
And CJ Harris was injured last week, and
that's the X factor.
I'm hearing that he's playing, that he's been cleared, that he'll play. Who knows if they're just using me as a conduit to get that out there to muddy the waters and make Belleville think he's playing when he's not playing. But I've been told that he'll be under center and he'll be playing.
Okay, good. Because I love Donovan Edwards, but if he has to play quarterback for that game, I fear for him.
Because he was in the Wildcat for all but, I think, 3 plays in the district final.
I mean, the one thing that the Tigers do is put up points, and they put them up in bunches. So I would be really, really shocked if this was not a 38-35 kind of game.
The secondary is going to be tested for West Bloomfield, for Makari Page at safety, Byron McCormick.
No question.
Because Dew Reed's got some weapons to play with. Deion Burks, Williams.
Burks especially can just climb the ladder and make some incredible plays. So, and Belleville is equally as talented when it comes to linemen and guys that can pressure.
And then we got some sophomore blue chippers. When we're talking about Belleville, you're talking about Miles Rosser. When you're talking about West Bloomfield, you got Dylan Tatum and Michael Williams. These are 3 kids that already have Power 5 offers, and they can't even drive yet.
So what's your take on who's going to win this one?
Well, I think when we talked about it last week, and it's going to come down to whichever defense can figure out a way to impose its will on the game and slow it down. Because if you can keep it from becoming a 38-35 game, I think that benefits West Bloomfield.
Yes, I do too.
I think the West Bloomfield defense is the difference. I'm going to put my chips in with Cornell Wheeler, just because he is a machine out there, sideline to sideline, as the quarterback of that linebacking group with the West Bloomfield Lakers, and Makari Page, another blue chipper at safety. So I'm going to put my lot in with West Bloomfield, but this is really a toss-up.
Tim Beckler took Belleville, so so there is a Tiger fan in the bunch.
I just like the fact that I think when you get this time of year, the experience factor and the battle-tested factor really plays for whoever has the experience and has been battle-tested. And West Bloomfield, although they haven't won a state championship, they got to the state finals a couple years ago, and Belleville's still kind of climbing that ladder. So
Belleville's the first time they'd gotten out past the district finals, I think, was last year. So this is all new to them, but they're learning very fast on the fly.
Yeah.
But Wheeler and Page were major contributors on that 17 team that probably should have won a state championship and lost in that really strange upset 3-2 to Clarkson.
Right. River Rouge and Orchard Lake St. Mary's should be an interesting matchup.
And Milan and Country Day should be good.
Yeah, Rouge has played some really good competition here, especially at the end of the season. Me personally, I've not seen Orchard Lake live, and so I know you have several times. I'm sure you have. You have not. Okay.
Did St. Mary's and Rouge play in the regular season?
No.
Rouge played Catholic Central in the regular
season. Yes, they beat Detroit Catholic Central, and they lost to Grand Rapids Catholic Central, so they played both. But that's their only loss, and that was week 1, which is one of the games that I was at, besides the Southfield game that I was at. And again, I was really impressed with the way they performed with a Southfield team that had to win to get in the playoffs. And you talk about talent on a team. My goodness. Where's
Oak Park right now?
We'll see. Yeah, exactly. So we'll see how that one works out. But again, lots of good games going on. We'll have coverage of a lot of them on the State Champs Network. So make sure you check it out and kind of refresh your YouTube page or wherever it is that you consume our content. And we'll have tons of highlights from tonight and tomorrow that will be coming up. Okay, so one of the things that we're going to do is take our second time out. When we come back, we're going to talk a little bit about Mr. Football and the Anvil Award, and we'll go ahead and look ahead to some of the state semifinals matchups. We'll get our comments of the week as well. But first, there's this from the MHSAA.
All right, did you hear the news? Studies of high school football players who played 50 to 60 years ago did not, and I repeat, not, show an increased risk of neurological disorders compared to their non-playing classmates. And the game now is a lot safer than it was then. High school sports, including football, have never been safer, and sports participation is a good part of a young person's overall education. It was for me. Learn more at the health and safety page of the MHSAA website. A message from the Michigan High School Athletic Association, promoting the value and values of educational athletics.
I chose Lawrence Tech for the architecture program and volleyball team. Architecture is a great fit for me because I love math and design. Now I combine them with technology to create beautiful structures. At Lawrence Tech, I didn't have to wait until my 3rd year to start designing. Our hands-on education begins right from day 1. And I'm really excited about LTU's Design Center in Detroit. Lawrence Tech, where Blue Devils dare.
The greatest honor a high school senior student athlete can earn? Detroit Athletic Club's Athlete of the Year. You're one of the tops in your sport. Prioritize education and giving back, like Cassius Winston, Megan Bobian, Rakia Jackson, and Aiden Hutchinson did. 6 male, 6 female nominees earn $1,000 in scholarship money, with $5,000 each to be awarded at a red carpet gala in downtown Detroit. Nominations accepted now. Download the application, dacathleteoftheyear.com. All right. Hey, guys. We are finishing up the show. We're in our final segment. Sorry. I get excited. And we want to talk about the Anvil Award and the Mr. Football Award, both sponsored by Hungry Howie's. We love Hungry Howie's. Hopefully we'll have a pie roll in here before we close the show. But if not, it's all good. You can go get one. You should do that now. But coming into this week, we'll talk about the Anvil Award first. This is the award that we hand out for the top lineman or linebacker in the state. It's our 2nd year doing this, and we have an unbelievable talented field. Who we had left in the race was Damon Payne from Belleville, Cornell Wheeler from West Bloomfield, Keegan Smith from Jackson Lumen Christi, Giovanni Elhade from Sterling Heights Stevenson, and Josh Preby from Edwardsburg. And they all won tonight, except for Belleville, which we'll find out tomorrow if they win, or Wheeler. So one of those is going to be gone after tomorrow. But we still have a good, a strong group. And just so you know, Rocco Spindler is the voting lead. I believe it's insurmountable. Yes, exactly. The voting does end on Tuesday at noon. And so if you believe you can push someone over the top, go ahead. But I think Rocco Spindler will, which means he will automatically be in our Final Four, which we will announce next week. And he will also have a 20% advantage to win the whole thing. He's a very talented player, but Clarkson didn't get in the playoffs, so that's going to be a tough road to hoe.
It sounds weird to just even hear.
I know, it does. But those are the guys that we have remaining. And again, all of those guys, well, at least 3 of them winning tonight and 2 facing off tomorrow. It's a talented group, and it's going to be hard to nail it down as to who's going to be the other 3 that we choose.
Well, just to back up what we were talking about earlier, the Belleville-West Bloomfield game has 2 Mr. Football candidates and 2 Anvil candidates, and one on each team.
I know.
So that's going to be a lot. It's going to do a lot to determine who wins the championship. It's also going to do probably a lot to determine who wins these 2 awards.
No question about it. On the Mr. Football side of things, we still have several guys that were available heading into tonight. Cam Martinez from Muskegon, he'll face Cedar Springs tomorrow.
He's the leader in the clubhouse.
Yes, he is.
I mean, the front runner from day one, and he's lived up to the hype. And he is like, it's like a joystick. He puts up video game numbers.
That's right.
He's playing like he needs to stay alive in this competition, and he's lapping the field.
He might have thought he had it all wrapped up last year.
And Ryan Day and the Buckeye coaching staff are just licking their chops once they get him on campus and let him loose.
For sure. Of course,
he fits so well into what they do in the passing game.
I know it's a really good pick.
I mean, he's not going to be a quarterback in
exactly,
college,
exactly.
He'll be in that slot and cause. I think he could be like a KJ Hamler.
Right.
What he's doing at Penn State.
Absolutely,
right now.
He'll return kicks. He'll do everything for them. They are, again, blessed. Ohio State. Yay. Donovan Edwards from West Bloomfield. We talked about him already. He had 4 TDs last week, because Harris got hurt in the second quarter.
And another thing I was talking to Coach Bellamy about him, obviously he passes the eye test with flying colors. I've seen this kid, 3 times this year. I saw him take his first carry of the game and go 65 yards right through the defense like a hot knife through butter. But his numbers, they don't blow you away. Right. I mean, I think he's at like 1,400 yards rushing, or so it's
right. But a lot of it
has to do with the fact that he's not playing in the second half of games.
And then you watch it, and you watch the game just from the eye test. Say, who's the best athlete on the field? Right. Oh, it's him.
No, but when I was asking Ronnie for the numbers last week, and I was expecting to see like close to 2,000, and he's like, hey, we just spread it around, and he hasn't played a lot of second halves, and.
Yep, that's right. Dew Reed, we talked about, of course, they're facing West Bloomfield. How about Brendan Sullivan?
Only had to throw 5 passes tonight because they were relying on the ground game, but he had 5 passes, one of them for a touchdown. 30 touchdowns on the season now, and I believe he came in with 2,500 yards, almost 2,600 yards.
I said it last week that De La Salle loss was the best thing that happened. I'm coming down here and getting their butts kicked. Coach Weingars and Sullivan, recalibrated, and they've been smoking the competition ever since.
The longer he goes, the more attention he's going to get. I mean, this is a kid who played wideout last year and had 0 offers, and I believe 1 for basketball, just because nobody had seen him play quarterback, and now he's one of the hottest commodities.
Yeah, it really is amazing. Zach Trainer and Abdur Rahman Yassin, both from Wall Lake Western, we saw tonight, and they won. And it was funny, I got an email through our contact page from C.J. Brown's dad. I found out that, of course, he's like, how come he's not a Mr. Football candidate? So, but, the way he played tonight, I will say, he looked great.
I've been telling people since summer that C.J. Brown is, and I think I put this in a blog, in terms of value at the next level, there are very few players, prospects in the state of Michigan that are going to give you what C.J. Brown's going to give you at Northern Illinois, because this kid's a Big Ten talent that's going to play in the MAC conference, and I think he's a Division I Power 5 guy. I think he's on either side of the ball. He's going there as a safety. He's a tailback. He's one of the best guys in the backfield in the whole state catching the ball in the flat.
He's built too. I mean, the kid's already got a
so his brother Spencer was a 4 or 5 star prospect that's at Michigan State right now. But CJ just for whatever reason has kind of gotten lost in the shadows of that program. But Northern Illinois is getting a steal. And I don't want the Brown family to think we've been ignoring CJ over here at State Champs because we have not. And we are well aware of the multitude of talent that he has in a variety of different spots on the field. Let me just throw out real quick stats for both of those guys. And this was before tonight, and I believe so. Abdur, I got Abdur Rahman Yassin. I got tonight. He was over 100 yards, even though he only had like 4 receptions. So right now for the season, he's at 1,550 yards and 18 touchdowns, 75 receptions. Trainer right now is at 2,700 yards, 36 touchdowns against only 3 picks. He missed almost 2.5 games if you count the quarters that he was out, and he's completing 75% of his passes.
Yeah, very impressive. And Yassin's another kid that looks like he could step on a college football field right now.
Most fundamentally sound, technically sound wide receiver of the state of Michigan the last couple of years.
I thought it was interesting that one of the things that Alex Gruno said after the first round of the playoffs was that he thought Abdur was playing with a little bit of a chip on his shoulder because the local schools hadn't offered. That night he gets a state offer.
Yeah. But I don't know. I was talking to some people. I'm like, honestly, right now, I don't know if I would commit to state at this second. And there's too much uncertainty with that program right now. I would need to know a little bit more as the months go on about who's going to be coaching, who's going to be running the offense, and so forth.
Right. Finally, our last Mr. Football candidate is Rashawn Williams from Detroit King. King tonight put up 49 on UD Jesuit, and this is a UD team that came in, kind of clicking on all cylinders. So good on them. I'm not sure exactly on what Williams did tonight, but I'll tell you what, their freshman quarterback is
DJ
just
Moore
playing better and better and better every week.
When a kid comes into high school, sometimes with that kind of pre-billing, sometimes you worry about whether or not that's going to weigh on him, and it certainly doesn't look like it's weighed on Dante Moore.
Here he had to replace a Mr. Football.
And I guess it all depends on how much you pay attention. But DJ Moore relatively flew under the radar if you compare it to the previous 8th grade phenom at the quarterback position, Sam Johnson, who ended up having a really good high school career. He's at Boston College right now. He'll probably eventually play at Boston College under center. But he came in with, the hype that Johnson came in with doesn't. What's going on with DJ Moore doesn't compare to that, and I think it's benefited DJ Moore.
Yeah,
he didn't. Sam Johnson walked into his first high school start as people saying he's the #1 quarterback in the country as a freshman. Now DJ Moore has a Michigan offer, so obviously people are paying attention to him. But I think it's been good for him that he didn't have all that hype, and he's been able to kind of slowly make a name for himself. And then over the next, depending on what happens in the next couple of weeks, but definitely the next 3 years, believe me, there'll be a lot of hype about DJ Moore.
And speaking of a lot of hype, especially at the beginning of the season, and we fell into it too, was Penny Boone. Yeah. And all of a sudden now, these last several games, he is dominant.
He's a workhorse.
This is Penny Boone weather.
Yeah.
Yes.
This is big power back where you can make one cut and go, and when you've got 240 pounds moving that fast, it's hard to stop that. And and it was the same thing last year when they got to this point and they played Allen Park on a muddy track, and you could see that he and the entire offense was kind of just keeping it on the ground. But this is perfect weather for him, and the more they play in games like this and in cold weather, this is going to be perfect Penny Boone weather.
And the same thing with Sam Johnson at South A&T, and he actually had a really good freshman year. I think he threw for almost 2,000 yards and over 20 touchdowns. King isn't saying to DJ Moore, you need to manage a game. King is giving him a full load, being like, we're going to drop you in the deep end of the ocean and you're going to swim.
And he spreads it around.
It's not like I'm just throwing out this kind of randomly, but I remember Shane Morris was a starter as a freshman at De La Salle, and he was really strictly a game manager.
Yeah.
But, with I think, just like in the NFL where you see guys hit the ground running faster, it used to be like a rookie quarterback would have to kind of wait in the wings for a couple of years. I think it's kind of trickled down now where if they think you got the it factor, they don't care that you're 14 years old. They're gonna let it go. They're gonna let it loose.
We've got some state semifinal matchups that we do know of that could be very intriguing and maybe hard to call. We've got Davison and Brighton going to meet in this Division I state semifinals.
That'll be an interesting one. I think they both can do a multiplicity of things. I think Davison has proved over the last couple of weeks that they can run the ball very well, which is what they've been doing. And obviously Brighton can do both aspects of the game. That could be a higher scoring game than
they both put up 35 tonight.
Is Riddle healthy for Brighton? Cole Riddle, their linebacker. I thought he had some injury issues earlier in the year.
Don't know.
But
yeah, he played last week at least.
So so Cole Riddle is a real difference maker. In the huddle, obviously sideline to sideline, and I like that kind of game within a game matchup between Riddle and at Sullivan under center for Davison.
Detroit Denby still alive, which is
the Tars, baby.
I mean, they put up 40 tonight. Granted, I think Robichaud maybe didn't play quite the competition. But they were there and they were 9-2.
Value. I mean, we said this last week too. Latrell Tompkins, the impact he's made in the PSL this year. There's no one matches it. Nobody's been able to match it. Even DJ Moore, all due respect to DJ Moore in his first year in the PSL too. Yeah. But Latrell Tompkins came over from a charter school, Detroit Delta. In the summer there was a buzz that started to build about him, more so as a pass rusher. But he's doing it on the offensive side of the ball as a tight end. He's stretching the field. I don't know if we've seen a two-way player like this. I mean, this is like, he reminds me a little bit of Antonio Gates.
Yeah.
In terms of what you see with him on both sides of the ball, and Tompkins is a force of nature and has really been the motor for this Denby team to be doing what they're doing right now.
Yeah, and they'll take on Lansing Catholic, a definitely battle-tested Lansing Catholic team. So we'll see how that one shakes out. Pewamo Westphalia takes care of New Lothrop by a point, and now they get Jackson Lumen Christi. I think from a matchup perspective, this is as good as it gets right here.
Oh, absolutely. Well, and I found it was interesting. I was trying to find scores as our game was wrapping up, and I was heading back, and I just happened to see a tweet from Jack Ellen, who's the quarterback at Byron, conference mate for New Lothrop, and he said that's the best high school football game I've ever seen.
Tonight's game?
Yeah, tonight's game.
Wow.
Yeah, he was in the crowd tonight.
Okay. Well, there you go.
And it kind of was billed as that.
Teams.
Yeah, it was.
Look at that Division 7 though. Look what
I know.
Schoolcraft Lumen was 35-30.
Yeah, no, I know. It was a good game, and you've got Traverse City, St. Francis, Iron Mountain, and Iron Mountain unbeaten going in. Cass City only has a loss, and then Detroit Loyola 6-4.
I saw them last week
in the regional final. So again, because of a lot of some of the tougher teams that they have to play, they might be ready to make a run.
Yeah, I saw them last week. I was really impressed by their defense.
At least get to the finals.
Yeah.
So we'll see how that plays out. So some interesting games that will be going on tomorrow, and obviously we'll have some good matchups. Okay, so we are starting to wrap up tonight. What I want to do first off is let us anything you guys are working on in particular that you want to promote right now from the website?
I'm going to turn something into Matt probably tomorrow that he'll probably post on Monday or Tuesday, I'm guessing, where I'm going to do a ranking of, because it was signing day this week for basketball. I know we're looking ahead a little bit.
Yep.
But we have, 4 guys that would be considered blue chippers, and then the rest are mid-major guys. So I'm going to do a top 10 ranking of the top 10 mid-major signees that signed on Wednesday. We got a lot of nice ones. Tyson Acuff, last second, signed with Duquesne, the point guard out of Cass Tech. Bubba Humphrey over at Southfield Christian signed with Holy Cross. John Brantley over at Brother Rice, first Warrior basketball player to sign a Division I scholarship since 1992.
Wow.
Signed with Lafayette.
Wow. If Cavante Martin Manley had not gone football, he
could have. He was a Division I basketball recruit. There's no question.
Yeah.
But so that's one thing I got up waiting for, or not waiting.
Yeah.
I'm waiting to turn it into Matt, and then we'll have that for you next week.
And Scott has a lot of great content regarding recruiting on our State Champs Indiana side of things. So if you're interested in just kind of hoops in general, at least right now, that's kind of the flavor.
And then this week I also did something I thought got some decent hits, was on Pontiac Notre Dame Prep. and the year that they're having, and how they've, there's so much excitement around that program, but nobody knows about it because they've kind of really just gotten forgotten about it a little bit because they're not in a league anymore. They play this kind of hodgepodge schedule, so they're not really in anyone's coverage districts, but they're having a very, very special season, and they got some very special playmakers. I've talked about them before. Jacob Benson, their
junior just having a hard time.
Junior quarterback, first year.
They lost tonight.
They lost.
Yeah, they lost.
I jinxed them.
Yeah, you did. You jinxed them. 12-9.
Or it was
12-9.
Oh, okay. I didn't see it.
That was the game that Matt was at. So,
okay.
Yeah.
All right.
It was a
but Jacob
time.
Benson, great year, junior quarterback. He'll be a guy to look for next season. I believe he was over 30 touchdowns and over 2,500 yards.
Quickly, remember, check out State Champs. We'll have Sunday at 9. We've got a ton of games. Again, throughout the website, throughout our Facebook, YouTube, we'll have tons of matchups from this regional weekend. So you'll be able to catch highlights of just a ton of games. So make sure you check that out and check it out often. Please like and share our content. If you subscribe to our YouTube channel, that'd be really great. We're really trying to build up those subscriptions. And again, check out our website, statechampsnetwork.com. Make sure you do your voting, and make sure that you also take the time to, check out our news. Check out what Matt and Scott and everything are doing on there. They got some good stuff. So, and we're starting to kind of move our way into basketball season and the other sports.
And I don't want to pat us too hard on the back, but in terms of recruiting, you're not going to get the type of in-depth coverage in terms of football, basketball, softball, girls and boys basketball. You're not going to get that at any of the other outlets around Michigan right now.
Agreed. All right, we've got some comments of the week, and these are presented by the MHSAA.
I will do my best with the names. All right, so from Facebook, Menser Clifton said, great games tonight. On YouTube, Kyle Shimmick said, Titans beat Cass Tech 9-7, moving on to the semifinals against Davison. Go Titans, in all caps.
Yeah.
And Jeff Glenn said, Davison looking yoked. And then from Twitter, Mark Barrett said, did I miss Alex Grignon?
Yes. Greeno.
All right.
Alex went a year with letting us say Grignon until I was like, you could have corrected me a lot sooner. You let me go a whole year calling you Grignon.
Yeah. Okay, well, thank you very much. We appreciate that. And I do want to mention that this is, at least for a week, this is our final Friday night show. So we are going to put together a state semifinals preview that we will record early in the week. It will not be a live show. And we'll probably premiere it either on Wednesday or Thursday. And we'll talk about all 16 games, and we'll give you our predictions. And we'll obviously know what took place this weekend, being tomorrow. And we can really kind of break down what some of the matchups will be like. So no Friday night show next week. Looks like I've got the okay for us to go to Ford Field on the first finals Friday. So what we'll do is we'll be all the way upstairs on the 7th floor, and we'll do our live show from Ford Field on Friday night.
Aren't most Final Four games on Saturday? Am I making that up in my head? Or is it split?
You talking about the semifinals?
Yeah, like
they're
for
all
next
Saturday.
Week. I was going to say that's why.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, yeah. All right.
Yes.
Real
exactly.
slow on the uptake.
That's okay. You can join us. No worries. Yes.
It all makes sense.
Yeah,
now.
we would have nothing to talk about.
That's what
and there's no reason to come here at 10 o'clock at night if there's no games before. So yes. So again, no Friday night show. It will premiere our semifinal preview Wednesday or Thursday. You can check it out, of course, on our Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, all that. And we hope you guys enjoy that. And we'll also remember state finals next weekend, so we'll have coverage of volleyball and girls swimming. We'll make sure that we get our coverage for that, as well as cover all the state semifinals game. We just do so much here at State Champs. We just give and we give. And hopefully, it's
good karma.
It's
you put good karma out, you get good karma back.
Yes, exactly. All right. For Jenna, for Matt, for Scott, I'm Lorne. Thank you guys so much for tuning in once again, and we will talk to you guys next week.
Good luck, guys.